but it's all there. All that knowledge is there. It's sitting it, in books from the past, and we just need to dust it off, and bring it out again. But
Well, I think Trump, in his own crude way, has stumbled across the essence of it,
yes,
which is that the rebellion against the church in philosophy and in religion, particularly in philosophy, which followed the religious rebellion, it's an assault on common sense. So Trump
yeah,
is now saying things like, "I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. I just have common sense."
right.
And common sense is what's under attack with this insanity of boys in the girls' locker room, boys competing with women in various sports, the transgender lunacy. You're whatever sex you say you are on a given day of the week. This attack on common sense has reached its terminal stage during this presidency. And so what we have to do is fight for a restoration of common sense in the church and in the state. But what's traditionalism? Traditionalism is a
Common sense.
common sense defense. We are, as I've always said, we are masters of the obvious.
Right.
That's all we are. You ruined the liturgy, now nobody's going to church. You reformed the seminaries, now they're all empty. You reformed Catholic education, now all the schools are closing. You tried to reform the whole faith, and now everybody's apostatizing. Duh, can't you see what you've done?
Right.
So all we say is, give us back the religion of our fathers, which, by the way, traditionalists have never ceased to practice because they have never been in any way commanded to cease to practice it.
Hmm.
So it's all a matter of observing the obvious, restoring common sense. And,
Yes.
we say that the Holy Ghost is in charge of the church, but we can't forget that Christ is in charge of history. He is the Lord of history.
Yes.
That's what the Message of Fatima is all about. He sent his mother to remind us that he is the Lord of history. And that when the consecration of Russia is finally effected in exactly the manner requested, instead of all these ridiculous substitute ceremonies, the Lord of history will show us how a miraculous civilizational restoration can happen. It happened after the fall of the Roman Empire. It will happen again sometime before the final days of the world, when, as the Old Testament says, God will roll up this world like a scroll and toss it aside.
And again, we can do our part. First Saturdays, remember the first Saturday devotion, receive communion, confession within 8 days, say the rosary, meditate for 15 minutes on those mysteries, and offer all of that in reparation for offenses against the Immaculate Heart. Again, we can't consecrate Russia, but we can do our part. We can say the rosary every day. We can do penance. We can observe the 5 first Saturdays, and then our part. We've done our part.
The rosary is the chief weapon in the arsenal of the laity.
Yes.
It has enormous power to effect change through the action of, as I said, the Lord of history. I'm
Yes.
thinking of a couple of examples more recently than the Battle of Lepanto, which we always refer to. Think of the development in Austria. Why did the
Yes.
Soviets pick up and leave Eastern Austria? No one to this day can really
No.
explain it. I
No.
saw a panel of scholars trying to discuss why it happened. No one really knows. Well, we know why. It was a rosary rally with 1 million people
Yes.
marching in the street praying for the end of Soviet occupation. And one day they just picked up and left, leaving behind the choicest real estate in Europe. No one.
Exactly.
So this can happen again. Just so the rosary is something we can do and must do at the very least. And I speak as someone who had to develop the habit myself.